Good? We're live? All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Community Roundtable here in the Gumdolph Kingdom. My name is Walt Paparazzi, joined always by our gracious host, Gumdolph the Grey. What's up, Vinny?
Not much, man. How are you?
Vinny, we're back again with story time, so you know what? I'm doing fantastic tonight.
You? Be a fun one.
Gonna be a good one. So for folks that are just joining us or have never seen one of these segments before, the Community Roundtable is a podcast-esque style show where we sit around and interview members of the fighting game community around here in Central New York. And I call it story time today because last week, or the week before last, I should say, we had three members of the fighting game community that used to share some good old stories. And today we have that part two of the segment. So we have a special guest with us right now, and then we'll be joined by two other special guests at some point later on tonight. But I want to make sure I introduce this man before we get going here. We have Mr. Polish Mafia, a.k.a. Dave. What's going on, sir?
How's it going, guys? Good to be here.
Going to be a good time tonight. I'm excited to hear your stories. But before we get to the stories, got to take a moment, though, and thank our sponsors of the stream. First and foremost, Junk Food Custom Arcades. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. Be sure to do so. They have all sorts of arcade sticks, fight sticks, snack boxes, things of that nature. So if you're looking for any sort of fighting game peripheral, be sure to check out Junk Food Custom Arcades. Syracuse Sucker Punch, got to make sure we shout out the FGC Godfather Kenyon, a.k.a. DJ Silence, and, of course, Microgame Play and Trade. For they are the ones that allow us to host the monthlies and give us the space. So, Vinny, there's the intro. We've got Dave on right now. I'm ready to get into some stories.
I am too.
First and foremost,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
No,
Vinny,
go
you
ahead.
go.
I want to see if you were thinking what I'm thinking.
Well, I was going to say, first and foremost, Dave, if you could, just give us a little bit of your background. How long have you been playing fighting games?
So, the first time I went to an arcade and played Tekken, I was 13 years old. The first time I took someone's money in Tekken, I was also 13 years old. And then my first national tournament I went to was in 1999. 14.
Damn. National tournament. So Tekken is your game, right? Is that the game you started out at?
Funny enough, it's not.
No?
Soul Calibur 2 was probably the game for the longest time that I was known for. And Marvel is probably the game, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is the game that I've probably made the most amount of money in. And then Skullgirls is the game that I've done best at EVO. So
Wow. At EVO, you said?
Yep.
Wow, you just got like plus 50 Vinny points on that one. Because that man loves Skullgirls.
Skullgirls is shit.
I got ninth place in Skullgirls in 2012. I lost to Ducator and to Sonic Fox. They're funny.
Dang.
Yeah, and that was before Sonic Fox was even Sonic Fox. Like he wore, he didn't have a full costume. He just had the head and know what the hell was going on. It was like I thought I was playing plushie for a while. But turns out this dude is just like godlike at everything he touches. He's a great guy too, but it was like that was a first. Like no one even knew what furries were until. You know, he kind of showed. At least I didn't know what a furry was until I played him.
Yeah. Sonic Fox definitely is very talented in any game that he plays. I mean, it's freaking wild. Okay, so you've got quite a bit of experience. You started with Soul Calibur 2. First time you took somebody's money was in Tekken.
Yep.
So what was like your main game? Would you say Tekken was your main game? Or are you just kind of one of those ones that kind of bounces all around?
So I was bouncing all around, and I was pretty much an elitist when I was a kid. So I got into Tekken, and I was like, every other game is trash. Like Street Fighter's trash, Soul Calibur's trash. Killer Instinct, that game was played on Nintendo. That's trash. You know, like I was such an elitist. And everyone was crowding around the Tekken cabinet every time I'd go to the arcades. So I was like, screw it, I'll learn how to play Tekken. And there was this arcade in Syracuse called Buttons Arcade. And yeah, good old. And, I walked in, took this guy's money, was probably 20 years older than me, probably, late 20s, early 30s. And he called his friend over, and I played him, I beat him, I took his money. And then one of the guys who ran the arcade, his name's Gabe Tillman. He's kind of like the father of video games for me. He just destroyed. And I'm like looking at him, and I'm like, how the hell do you know all this stuff? Like I was playing Eddie. That was the first character. And I'm just like doing just 3-4, 4-3 mix up. So it was essentially like this kind of unseeable low or unseeable mid. And I was just doing that. I knew a basic combo, and he came in and he was doing mix ups on me and frame data. He was using that. So I'm just like, what the heck? So me, being a salty 13-year-old in friendlies, like I'm getting back on my bike, putting on my pads and stuff, and sulking out the door. And he stops me and he's like, "Dude, you're good. You want to learn how to play?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like I was a poor kid.
Yeah.
You went, you give you $40 to the arcade, and you're there for hours, and you have to make that money. So
yeah,
the whole point was to lose or to make money so you keep playing.
Yeah.
And he goes, show up tomorrow and come with as much money as you have. And I'm like, all right. So I scrounged up like $1.50 in quarters, went there, and he had gotten the Tekken 3 book, and he plopped Tekken 3 down, and he goes, which character do you want to learn? And I'm like, I had this crush on this girl when I was 13, and she was blonde, and she looked like Scandinavian kind of, and I was just like, I don't want to learn Nina. And he was like, because that was the character reminded me of this girl. And he goes, all right, dude. So he hands me a roll of tokens. And he hands me the Tekken 3 book, and he goes,
learn Nina.
Learn Nina. He goes, we'll play when you think you learned, right? And spent like 2 hours playing, putting quarters in. Finally, I played him, destroyed me.
Man,
He goes, show up tomorrow. I'll give you another roll of quarters. I'll give you the book. You'll keep learning. And showing up, eventually I got to the 10-string section of the book. And then I got to frame data and throws and counters. And within like 2 months, I was playing him. And like, this was the first guy that I ever looked up to in like video games, like, kind of like a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, all right, dude, now you're ready for the next part.
Oh boy.
This next part, he goes, you need to learn how to survive. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you need to learn how to have someone sit there and talk as much shit as they can in your face, and you need to be stoic and not listen and play and beat them and talk through, your gaming. Don't talk through your mind. And like, that was my first actual lesson in playing in an arcade, especially like old school arcades. And
yeah.
Everyone is allowed to say what they want. It's up to you to listen and receive.
Man, he's like the Mr. Miyagi of Tekken here.
Dude, Gabe Tillman, man, I'm telling you, this is like my hero for like fighting games.
Man.
So, Tekken 4 comes out, and now we're in 1999, and we don't get a station here. We get 2 stations in Chinatown Fair, 1 station in Southern Hills Golfland in California, and then this mofo named went to Japan, fucking Namco headquarters, and bought a board, brought it back, set it up in his basement. And that year, around that year, YouTube came.
Mhm.
And he was one of the first people to put out combo videos.
Man, we're going way back.
Oh, you mean? And he goes, and so his character that he used was Nina. So I'm like, oh, my character, like I'm seeing the world just like in front of my eyes, you know. And as well, it's the internet, so it's like.
Mhm.
So I decided that I wanted to go to T5 Nationals or T4 Nationals, and I wanted to play in this tournament. Not ever played the game. And then eventually we get Hoppy here in Syracuse. Fun. So
Mhm.
I had like a couple weeks to play before I went. So my mom, I'm going downtown for a video game. Like, yeah, we're downtown. I'm like, just, you know, downtown.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. I map quest out directions because we don't have cell phones. Print them out, hop on a bus, and go to Penn Station. Penn Station, I go to Chinatown. Chinatown, I go to CTF.
Yep.
I play myself. My return bus ticket was for like 10:30.
10:30 that night.
And I didn't make it because they fit 265-man tournament
Oh.
running on 2 stations.
Oh my god, a TO's nightmare. So many freaking people playing on 2 stations.
Like, if anyone's ever been to China, and I'm talking like 800 square feet with stations in it. So it was impossible to get through. It was impossible to hear anything. It was impossible to do anything. So I get to top 12 or top 16. I'm like one match away from making it the top 8. And guess who I got to play?
Who?
Catlord. The dude who I watched teach me how to play T4 Nina. Like, the dude that everybody watched. And, like, his videos are still up, and they're epic. They're, like this, like, amazing trance, like, music, or, like, house music. It's like, these crazy combos that no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
And, so, I play Catlord, right? And I lose the first match, win the second match, and it's third match. And this is the first time I've ever had the feeling of hundreds of people chanting and cheering for me that I've never met.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what started the whole tournament thing for me. That's what drove me, was that feeling of just like, so remember Dresden the Executioner, who played MVC2, who was watching me play and literally said, break that motherfucker's neck. It's a goddamn 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And like, I just held it. Like, I went, and it got down to final round, final hit. I went for wipe the floor. He blocked it, and while standing 2 launched it.
Oh.
And it got down to a 50-50. And I considered that like a personal win for me. To like put it all on the line. The person that, you know, I emulated almost lose to me.
Yeah.
You know? But my
Man.
trip wasn't over, because then I had to go home. Now, by the time this happened, it was like 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
Penn Station's about 20 blocks away from Chinatown, 25. I didn't know how long blocks were. I thought they were normal blocks, not New York City blocks.
Yeah.
So I get to the bus station at like 1 a.m. and call my mom. Told her I'm downtown. She goes, downtown where? Where the fuck are you? 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And station. She's like, I don't know where that is. I'm like, New York City.
And you probably got what? A 3-hour bus drive back?
5.5 because it would stop at Portland for like 20 minutes, which is just shitty and out of the way. And so I catch the red eye, get back to Syracuse at like 7 a.m. My mom's waiting for me inside of her car. I get in the car. She slaps rap. Rightfully so.
Right.
Rightfully so.
You're 14 and you're out all night in New York City? Wow,
never
man.
never held that against her. And she goes, look at me. Did you learn your lesson? And I go, I will never lie to you again. So she goes, promise me you'll never lie to me again. From that day on, I've never lied to my mother about anything. And I've also been completely honest with the game.
Man.
Gaming tournament scene. That's how Polish Mafia was born.
That is probably one of the best origin stories I've ever heard for the fighting game community. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, you pretty much you started out playing Tekken 3. You got kind of a mentor figure, father figure that was allowing you to play in the arcades. You picked Nina because you had a crush on a girl, and she kind of looked like Nina. Did you ever talk to that girl? I need to know.
All right. So yes and no. we dated, but that year I put a rose in her desk and to like win her over. I thought that was super cool and super chill.
You
And,
fucking Casanova, you.
Oh,
Classic move.
No, she got embarrassed. She opened it up in front of class, and everybody was like, "Sorry, laughing at her that she had flowers in her."
She didn't deserve you then. She didn't deserve you. That's a
No,
real pro level romantic move.
We're still friends. We still talk every once in a while. I dated her like 3 times. Like 18.
Does she know
I
you
think
picked your Tekken character based upon her?
I could have drunkenly told her that maybe once or twice, but I doubt she knows it.
Okay. Fair enough. No, seriously, that's quite the origin story. And you didn't tell your mom you were going to New York City to play Tekken?
I told her I was going downtown. I never told her which town I was going down to.
That's clever as hell.
Yeah, Ma, heading downtown. I'll catch a ride back or whatever.
So I didn't.
You're in fucking Chinatown, New York City, playing Tekken against the man who you learned all your combos and tech from on YouTube.
The one and only cat. Or it wasn't even YouTube. It was Tekken Zaibatsu. He uploaded it on Tekken Zaibatsu.
Wow. Wild story. So you've been around the fighting game community since '99. I'm gonna call that your birth year in the fighting game community. Now, I'm assuming around here in Syracuse, you've been around for quite some time, and you've had some, quite a few good stories here, and you met quite a great few people here. I always love you. Like, you kind of told this one already, but I always love hearing stories of the first time you traveled with a group of people to play fighting games and the shenanigans that ensue when that happens. Do you have a favorite travel story with members of the fighting game community that you have, whether it's recent or in the past?
My God, yeah. I have. Does it have to do with fighting games themselves, or is like the shenanigans after?
It could be either. We left this open to interpretation when we talked to the folks 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It worked out well for us. It worked out well for us.
There's raccoons and cars and running out of gas and all sorts of shit.
So I got one from my Soul Calibur 2 days. And this was, the Soul Calibur 2 story. You guys ever heard the term "don't get clamped"?
Yes.
Don't get clamped? I have
Don't get
not.
Clamped, like plans. So We had a huge Soul Calibur community in Syracuse, and the invitation only tournament, and in the U.S. we had person go. We had 2 players in the world that lived in Syracuse. We had 6 or 5 top 20 players in the world that also were here. So it was huge. That was like our sport was Soul Calibur 2. So we went to a tournament in Atlantic City and we sweeped it respectively, first, second, and third. Big community showed up all over the East Coast. So we all made a shit ton of money. And we're like, let's go on the strip and party, right? And I wasn't old enough to gamble yet. I was like 16 or 17. But we could still go in the casino. And we all sit down. There's like 18, 16 of us. Because it's like 8 and 8 on one side and 2 at the edges. So 1 at each edge. So 18 people. And I'm sitting across from my buddy Kevin. And Kevin orders Clams Casino. I ordered. But I specifically remember. And so Kevin, so excited about this. He hasn't had clams in a while. And some food starts coming out. And this waiter that comes out with like 2 or 3 plates. 1 plate in one hand and 2 plates in the other hand. And as he is walking and serving someone their plate, and the person he's serving his plate to is right next to Kevin, he like leans in and he doesn't notice that one of the plates that he's holding in his other hand is starting to leak.
Oh no.
And it's Kevin's Clams Casino. And so Kevin's Clams Casino is leaking down the back of his shirt.
Leaking down Kevin's shirt?
It starts leaking down the back of Kevin's shirt.
Oh no.
And Kevin does not notice this. Kevin, in fact, is like laughing with people, talking about the food that's, on either side of him. And no one is noticing but me. And I'm in like shock that this is happening. And the waiter looks around to see if anyone notices, looks at me, sees that I noticed.
Oh no.
Looks down, looks back at me, looks down, looks back at me, and just goes for it. Literally takes the other plate, the plate of Clams Casino, puts it in front of Kevin, and goes, "Enjoy your meal, sir."
Oh no. Kevin got Clams Casino down his back.
And then he walks up.
And the man didn't even tell him?
I am dying, fucking just like rolling, like banging on the table, laughing, looking at people, telling, pointing. At, "You got clammed." And he goes, "Yeah, I got Clams Casino." I go,
No, you can.
"You got clammed." And he goes, "Yeah, I got Clams Casino." I go, "Are you supposed to have the sauce?" He's like, "Yeah, there's the sauce." I know.
Oh, he got fucking clammed.
It's behind you. And he's like, "What?" And he looks right, he's like, "There's one behind him." And I'm like, "No, bro, it's like on you." Got clammed. So he stands up and the whole chair, his legs covered in Clams Casino sauce.
First of all,
And so
Clams Casino is delicious.
it
But
was
to have it poured, he didn't even know that it was poured down.
oh,
his back.
no. So he starts looking for the waiter, right? The waiter apparently had walked in, took off his apron, and fucking
Yeah, he was
Wait.
like, oh.
went on the spot and left.
He's like, we're out.
Tell anybody. So the manager came over, ended up taking Kevin downstairs and getting him a brand new outfit from the store down there.
And
And Kevin was a good dresser, so Kevin came back dressed to the nines. He was,
yeah, you guys were in a casino.
He was a gorgeous human being that night. Because he got, but then like I think he made it. He's like his probably cost him like $2-3 that he paid for free. So, but to this day, the old school, Soul Calibur crew will bring up stories of Kevin getting clamped.
Kevin got clammed.
Kevin clamped.
Oh man. Do you
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask. Do you still talk to any of those guys?
So I do still like maintain contact with a lot of them. A lot of them were like big brothers and mentors to me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I was lucky enough to not get into like the stupid stuff that kids were getting, into at my age, simply because I was hanging out with all these older people who were helping me out.
Yeah.
And back then, I was the young one. I was, like I said, 14 at my first major. By 15, 16, I was, meeting people in the community that was forming here. And they were all late 20s or going to, SU at least.
Yeah.
And that was
your mom about going downtown.
That was a big thing too. Is they had an exchange program at SU where they took exchange students from like mainland China and brought them over here, and SU students would go over there for a semester.
Mm-hmm.
So we would get like people coming in for a semester that were just like amazing fighting games, and then some of them stayed and finished out, their schooling at Syracuse. And that's how we got people like Evan Dundee and like Stevenson Lapp. They were just like amazing Chinese players who were just chilling in Syracuse.
Man.
Yeah.
You got some stories, Dave. I love this. This is exactly what we wanted tonight. This is so awesome.
I mean, you can wind me up and let me go. Like I can tell you the first time somebody ever stole something in front of me. This is the best way I can explain. I was playing against this guy named RTD, Rob the Destroyer, one of the best Soul Calibur 2 players in the world from, I think, Orlando. And he's the one who, he was one of them. And I was playing at a tournament in Philly, and I thought it was really good, I thought it was really good. And playing in a tournament match. And I do this thing where I fake doing mid and instantly do a low into mid that hits, because the low does guaranteed and puts me at a great advantage. On block or hit. And I put RTD in this mix up and did it to him for like 2 rounds straight and won that match. And at the end of the match, he looks at me, he smiles, and he goes like. And then for the next 2 matches, he proceeds to use my mix-ups and my setups to me. Like he had invented them. And then right after the tournament's over, right after the match is over, someone walks up to me and goes, "Yo, that shit was wild." He goes, "Yeah, I just got it up on spot." I'm like, "You motherfucker." I'm like, not only did you steal my shit, but say that you made it up on the spot?
The fucking lies. The lies.
And so, people in the Soul Calibur community up here would bring that up. And every time I would do something, they'd be like, "Oh, Dave, big combo. Hopefully no one steals it."
Man.
And now it's a different story, because now with YouTube, Twitch, everything's out there.
Yeah. So you brought up a point earlier, and it kind of goes with what you just said about being upset that somebody did something like this. But your point earlier was when you were playing with Gabe, and he said now you need to learn to if people talk shit to you or whatever, you need to be able to have your gameplay do your talking, and kind of survive in that, right? So has there ever been a time where, maybe somebody was talking all kinds of shit to you while you were playing, and you just had to kind of stay stoic and you let your gameplay do your talking? I'm interested if you ever had a story like that.
So yes, but on the reverse.
You were talking all kinds of shit?
Yeah. So like, and it for me, man, like, bro, I'd go down to CTF for months. I'd stay in New York City. I'd go down to Philly. I'd go to just all points of Jersey. I'd go to Boston. Like, this was like the late '90s, early 2000s. Everybody was talking. Like, this was at the height of Biggie Pac, right? So everybody had some balls. Everyone felt like they were lyricists and could like talk shit to you. So that was normal. Like, and that was fine with me. But I was also that kid who was talking shit, picking on people's insecurities and the race.
Oh,
like,
man.
So,
you were the villain. You were the bad guy.
In some senses, yeah, and I got humbled by a friend. His name was Chief. He was a linebacker for Penn State who was in the Diamond. So on his summers and winters, he would come back to Syracuse, and we were at Buttons Arcade, and we played tournament. And I had triple perfect him. And I started unloading. Right? Unloading. And to get to perfect someone in Tekken, this was Tekken 5. To perfect someone in Tekken 5 was kind of easy, but the triple perfect them was kind of difficult. And I had mentioned something about his race and the fact that he was a Native American. And this dude is at least 300 pounds, at least like 6'2", 6'4". Huge Native American. Which is kind of redundant. But he had picked me up by my neck and set me down very, very gently on the floor. And on my back. And very gently. And pointed at me as he was just like hovering over me with his hand on my chest. You shouldn't say stupid things. Because some people will not be as nice.
Dang, you got humbled.
And it's like in front of like 15, 20 people during this tournament. And like, no one could tell him to leave. No one could tell him anything. Like, he was the bouncer. Yeah, dude. So, that was, I shouldn't have said that shit. Like, he had every right to pick me up and put me down. But he did so very gently. So gently that I've never forgotten. And after that moment, I stopped fucking shit. The
life lesson. The life lesson handed down by that player.
So, yeah. But like on the other end, like I said, everybody talked shit. Like everybody did, and some people were ruthless about it, and they went out of their way and made it up. And like, there was no cancel culture. Like you either beat the shit out of them and could not go back to the tournament, or you just played them, kicked the shit out of them in the game, and just smiled and gotten sweet revenge then.
Yeah.
But you gotta let the talkers talk.
Yeah. Who's in your experience, between Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse, who's the biggest shit talker you've experienced in your time in the fighting game community?
So like, it was always Syracuse, because for the longest time, Syracuse had the best players. They had access to the best players. And when people came up to Syracuse, when people came up to play in upstate New York, they came to Syracuse to play. They didn't go to Rochester. So we were always the biggest shit. Like, our job was just to humble the fuck out of people.
Yeah.
We had people like literally make pilgrimages up to this guy Mordak's house, who lived in his parents owned a mansion, and he had the whole basement to himself. So people would come up for weekends and just stay there and play us. And they would buy us dinner, and they would, get beer and stuff, and they would just stay there for a whole weekend and just play us repetitively.
Yeah.
So we were always shit talkers. But we also backed it up
Oh yeah,
in almost every single game we played.
man. Is there a proudest moment you've had defending the land, so to speak, when folks came to Syracuse? Whether it was yourself or your group of friends or whatever. Maybe you guys were up against adversity or something like that, and you guys defended the title, defended the area, defended the homestead.
So, yeah, me personally, I was always Mr. Second Place when people came up here. Like, I would always lose to them. Like, I lost to Fab. I lost to Bronson, I think, in finals when he came up here. Lost to, I was always Mr. Second Place. But in Marble, when Damas started doing Marble tournaments, 3,
Mm-hmm.
I got pretty good. And he had 5 tournaments. And I won first place 4 out of 5. And the 5th one, I didn't win because I didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work if I couldn't. And I will say it. I felt like that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But for the last Dust Bowl, when I beat Ryan Toner, and that was after losing the protege and almost losing the whole tournament and coming back from a 1 pixel deficit to win a match against 3 people, against a full team.
Mm-hmm.
D'Angelo actually was there for that. He gave me some great fucking advice.
Mm-hmm.
Time. But yeah, that was one of my proudest moments, was beating his last Dust Bowl. And then watching Damas destroy my Goggles turn out.
I knew that was gonna come up.
So that's what. So I've seen the video. And it is a piece of art of the documentary Tony shot of the 10-0 in there. But I'm curious to hear, and I was hoping this would get there. I'm curious to hear your take on the 10-0 Goggles Damas saga in Marble 3.
Well, like, okay, look, going into this tournament, Damas knew he was going to win, and Goggles knew he was going to lose. He knew he was going to lose. He knew that there was no way that his team could really beat Damas's team. Like, that's why he had, like, changed, like, he had tried a different team, like, midway, because, he knew. He had a second team planned all along. It was just bad. Like, I think I said it in the movie. Like, it's bad. You don't go in and just do a money match like that and get 10-0'd by Damas. And, like, Damas was good, but Damas wasn't even close to the best in the region, in that area.
Yeah.
He wasn't even the best with that team. There was a guy named Tick from Rochester who, like, was an amazing Haggard Hulk player. Haggard Hulk Sentinel. And, I had a hard time beating him. I really couldn't beat him in a tournament. No one else could. He was the best in that region. And Goggles said, still motherfucking. So for, like, him to lose to Damas, shamefully, like, disgracefully, ethically, I don't know. I can't think of a worse loss that I have witnessed personally with my own 2 eyes.
Man.
Because of the destruction that it caused to him emotionally.
I just remember seeing in the video, he's sitting there yelling and screaming, and Thomas is just sitting there, like knowing he's on top. I think it was like 7-0, 8-0 or something like that. And he's just like, "What the fuck?"
So this is something that I'll tell you guys about this. Is that I was sitting there watching it from like the right side, from the same angle that it was being recorded from the player's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the person recording it was my buddy Kaloon, and he looks at me and whispers, "Yo, I don't feel right recording this."
This massacre.
And I look at him and I just like I shrug. You know, like let it
They agreed to
happen.
the terms.
I mean, pretty much. And Thomas wasn't even talking shit because he felt it the whole like. Oh my god! You know when like someone does something awkward in front of a group of friends and the whole room goes silent? People who aren't even paying attention just go silent and look over.
Yeah.
That was
Oh man.
yeah. Yeah.
Vinny, we got to get our hands on that
That
video
was
because
sad.
because
Well,
if you haven't,
I was hoping Tony would be here, then he could just like send me the whole thing.
dude, because Vinny, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it because
I've seen it.
I
I've seen the
felt
clips. I've seen pieces.
I felt the emotion. Everything that Dave's just describing right now, I felt the emotion watching that video, and how it's shot as like a documentary is just beautiful. You're in it, Dave, aren't you? Aren't you like talking in it in a sense
Yeah.
or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I get interviewed.
Oh, it's so good. It's a piece of fighting game history for Syracuse, and everybody needs to appreciate it.
So, and there was a lot that was missed too. Like, so there was my protege, Josh 99, the kid that like I was trading, the like 14-year-old whiz kid. Like, I felt like when I looked at him, I saw my younger self.
Yeah, the protege.
Totally. Like, and so he was playing Magneto Morgan Doom, and he knew how to do Unflag, and he knew how to do the Infinite, and like he was so good. I lost to him in that tournament. He sent me to losers,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to play against a Hulk team from the dude. Just perfected me the first round, and perfected me the second round, but he didn't kill me. What had happened was when he had hit my Doctor Strange, no, he had hit my Magneto because he had tagged him out, and then it was my third character, and he hit him. And as he's doing the combo, I take my hand off of him, and, like pull it over to the guy. I'm getting ready to shake his hand while he's doing the combo, you know, because that's how it goes. And the turkey just like I gave him, and he dropped the fucking combo.
Yeah.
And X Factor, kill off my characters, reverse pixel OCV him, win that round, win the next round, or win the next match. And I get up, D'Angelo walks over to me, and he literally looks me dead straight in the eyes and shakes me and says, I'm going to tell you something that you told me, never take your hands off of my fucking controller. Like he never had D'Angelo dead me before, and that was the first time he deaded me, and I felt it.
Yeah.
God.
That was brought up with the other group, the controller. Jeremy fucking hates it.
Taking your hand off the controller.
Yeah, Jeremy, man. He sees you take your hand off, you're like your stick or your controller. He's like, you fucking asshole.
Because you're never out. It ain't over till you see that KO, he says.
Right. And I at that moment, I'm like, yo, my tournament runs over. Like, I can't repeat. Sucks. Like, I was like, I'm gonna retire from Marvel. Screw this game. And then he drops it, and I'm like, oh, I'm making it.
Oh man.
And I won that tournament. So it was just like, you know, another one of those moments.
So awesome. It's so awesome. I love hearing these stories. Marvel 3 is one of those games that I always wish I would have gotten into. I joined the FGC like late though. Like I was coming in. I always played like fighting games like with my friends in college and things like that. But when I officially like joined like Syracuse, it was like Street Fighter 5 had just been out for a period of time. You know what I mean? I was coming in late, and I think Street Fighter 4 was like on its way out. Street Fighter 5 was in, and that was like my intro to it. But like Marvel 3, I always love watching Marvel. I love the art, like the art style of it. I love the gameplay of it. I've tried to go back and play it and like learn it. I just haven't put much time into doing that, but I would have loved to be around the scene during like Marvel 3 days.
Oh,
I think that would
dude,
have been so sick.
Marvel 2. Like, if you think Marvel 3 was good, MVC 2, the heyday of shit talking. Like, you got like, I don't know if you guys know what Fist of the North Star is.
I do.
Okay, so that was the first. That game, it was known for having these long, drawn-out combos. Like the first game to have these long, hard, drawn-out combos. And then MVC 2. And MVC 2 also had these long, drawn-out combos that you could, like, once you get the muscle memory down for, you could look at the other person that you're playing against and talk literal shit to their face while you're infiniting them. And there's nothing they could do about it because their next character was going to die because of guard breaking in the air. So, you know, it was ruthless. Like, there's so many videos of Yipes just going into people, right? And this is now, like, when you think of Yipes, you think of, you know, Capcom Cup, you know, primetime TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy was the biggest shit talker. It was hilarious. It was like you were getting roasted.
Yipes has got some hype stuff, yeah.
But now, imagine a room full of motherfuckers like that. Not just one.
Yeah.
And then every game. And so, like, it was amazing. It was just like, it was almost like camaraderie because you went, you talk shit, you talk some shit back, you won, you lost. You went to go eat, and then you went home. And no one would, like, took it personally.
Yeah.
Now, like, even with Marvel 3, you could say some shit, but, like, you kind of couldn't. That was the beginning of, like, the cancel culture. So, like, look at Filipino Champ, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said some shit. He got on blast. He was always a shit talker, but he went too far. He got canceled. That's the only one I can think of right now off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that Mutex was another one, right?
Yeah.
Talking shit, got canceled. MVC 2 days? What the fuck is canceling? Like, how are you going to cancel something?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you tell them they can't come back to the arcade? Whatever, they just go to another arcade. Like, back then there was arcades everywhere. So, but no one got canceled. Like, no one said some, people said shit, they got over it. Different times now.
Yeah. So I think as a whole in your experience in the FGC, you know, you've shared a lot of stories here today and whatnot. Are you still playing these sorts of games right now? I know I don't really see you around too often, but like, what are you doing right nowadays?
So I'm actually working on a business venture right now. I've owned and operated another business for 6 years, and I'm going to do something. And I can't really divulge it right now, but
Of course.
the next year it should be hopefully the owner and operator of my new business. Other than that, learning how to play the ukulele. I'm going to Thailand at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, you know, living life. I still play every once in a while.
Yeah.
I kind of do it more for the community support and less for myself. Like, I'm old. I can't see things as fast as I could. and respond as fast as I should, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
In my time,
Yeah.
So, but I still got a lot of stories. So, anytime you guys want to hear it, I'm more than happy to come back and give you guys, some sage wisdom or some funny stories ranging from PG to R.
That's awesome. I think we definitely run a second or a third story time, because I love hearing tales of the olden days, and how people got their starts and whatnot. And I think it's important for people to hear what it used to be like and what it is now and whatnot. If you had to offer advice to maybe current members of the fighting game community or people looking to break into it, what would you share? What's your sage wisdom that you would share?
Just fucking do it. Like, if you want to learn a new character, just fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to pick up a new game and try it out, just fucking do it. Like, quit making excuses for why you shouldn't or couldn't do something, and just fucking do it. You can make it happen.
Just fucking do it. There you go.
I mean,
there's the advice. I agree with that wholeheartedly. There shouldn't you are your biggest critic, and if you're saying you can't do something, well, then guess what? You can't.
Yeah,
you say you can. Exactly. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's the biggest thing. All right. Good stuff. Vinny, do you have any follow-ups, anything? I know I kind of hijacked the questions.
No, I appreciate you coming on, Dave. We'll definitely do more. Sadly, Thomas and Tony could not make it. But I know Jeremy and Dee also said they have more stories to share too, so we'll mix it up a little bit. And Jeremy brought up after last stream, there's a chocolate story to be talked about, so I want to hear. A few other things. So I will say, I do want to ask this. This one thing, since Tony's not here, I'm going to do it again. Dave, were you ever in the car when Tony ran out of gas?
Dude, we fucking hated rolling around with goddamn Tony. So Tony's whole thing was, yo, take my car, I'll pay for gas. Or its gas is gonna be really cheap because I got a fucking Yaris or some shit, so no one else had a car. And the people that did have cars didn't want to drive to fucking 8 on a break on a goddamn Tuesday, So, this dude ran out of gas so many fucking times.
Running on empty.
Plan out an extra half of where we had to go, because there's a good chance Tony was gonna run out of gas. And he would put in only as much as it was needed to get there, and then to get to a gas station. So, I shit you not, he would put in 2.12 gallons, $5.18, and he's like, "We got this."
Oh man! Just top her off, Tony. Top her off. Come on, for the love of God.
And our dumb asses, our dumb stoned asses, most of us are just like, "Oh, we're just gonna let this happen and see," instead of being, here's an extra couple bucks to put in the gas station, in the gas tank. No, we just let it happen. So we were no better than he was in that sense.
Man.
That's all I wanted to know.
So many times. So many times. And that's not even oh my God. Have me on next time. I'll give you some more Tony stories.
Vinny, what? I don't know what the logistics would be like as far as streaming it, but what or how can we do an in-person roundtable?
It's possible.
Because
we can do it at the store.
I would love to have like Dave, Tony, like D. You know what I mean? Like the old heads,
table.
the old heads sitting around the table, chatting it up. You know, telling some old stories, having a good time. We get pizza, wings, and beer, and let's do it. Like, because this would be so fun. You know what I mean? Like, I know like guys like Luis and Damas wouldn't be able to travel in, but maybe there would be like a way we could have them like video chat it or something like that, and just get the old heads in. You know,
I'd enjoy it.
I would have a blast.
I was just hoping Tony was going to be here so he could try to defend his gas problem.
Oh, there's no defending it. You can't deny what I said. It's factual. Like these were his reasons. He admitted to it. Like there's something to be said about it's like. Okay, so you guys know the old Hulk movie, the old Hulk show at the end with the sad song, and he's like walking down the street, or walking down this like road in the middle of nowhere, right? It's the sad song. That would be Tony with an empty gas tank, walking away from the car in a goddamn rainstorm up a hill to go get some gas. God knows where.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one fucking time, he had a state trooper drop him off.
Dude, the story was on last time.
Like, yeah, like, and that's just a fucking Tuesday.
Oh man,
The raccoon that got locked in the car. My favorite story of all time, man. So fucking dumb.
what a wild story.
Bro, why aren't you in the car? There's a raccoon in there.
Yo, you guys probably didn't hear the story about the flying PlayStation.
What?
No, but you know what? We got time for it. Let's hear it.
If you guys want to hear it.
Yeah,
So we're at Kevin's house at Eskin Hill, and we're all getting ready to go to Jared's house. And and I had taken Tony's PlayStation, and Tony's PlayStation or Tony's PlayStation first. Regardless, it was one of their two PlayStations, and Kevin had PlayStation, said, "I got this," and he took the PlayStation, and we walked outside, and we walked up to the car, and we're talking, we're bullshitting, and he puts the PlayStation on top of the car, and grabs all the stuff, puts it in the trunk, and then he sits in the car, ready to go. We got everything. Yeah, let's go. Puts the car in drive. Kalu goes, "Yo, Kevin, where's the PlayStation?" And Kevin's like, I don't know, I got it. And as soon as he says that, we see Kalu break, and we see the PlayStation that's on top of the fucking car just fucking fly. And I'm talking like it was gone. We were going down a hill, and we were at the top of the hill, and it was at the bottom, and it was at the bottom in pieces.
Was this a PS1?
This is a PS2 modded.
Oh no. Oh no.
So, Kevin, being the gentleman that he is, instead of going to Jared's house, we go to the 24-hour line.
What was that at the end? You cut out there.
He went to Walmart and bought him a new PlayStation 2 that night.
Oh man. A funny story with a happy ending.
I mean, no, the bad part of it is that his PlayStation had like this flip screen at the top of it. It was modded in a way shooting out when you hit the button. You could literally lift up the top and take the disc out that way.
Oh, the swap disc thing.
Yeah.
I know what that is.
So cool. It was cool.
Man.
Yeah. So there's some things you can never get back. That was the moral of that story.
Moral of the story: before you drive off, make sure your PlayStation's secure.
And that's not even the first time I've been flying PlayStation. That's only the most memorable.
Oh my god. Well, Dave, this has been excellent. We appreciate you sharing your stories. Still, I would say your origin story is probably the best one I've heard so far. That was truly awesome. Man, appreciate you coming on tonight, sharing your stories, having a good time with us. We'll definitely have to have you back here because I know you definitely have more, and I know the people want to hear more. So this is good.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me talk a whole lot and listening. Anytime you guys want me back, I'm gonna.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any Dave? Any last words? Anything else you want to share?
Stop being bums.
Stop being bums. Just fucking do it. There you go.
Yeah. Play some video games, make some money. Because now it's possible. Now you can sit in your house and, not go outside and sit on your PlayStation and make money if you're good enough. So, do it. Do it or don't. Fucking
just do it. Good stuff. All right, Vinny, I got nothing else. What do you got?
The only thing I have right now, don't forget the Christmas party is on the 10th at the shop, noon to close. There'll be food, there'll be cookies, there'll be video games, there'll be raffles. We got 2 arcade sticks to raffle off.
Video games.
You can get tickets for that we have partnered with Toys for Tots this Christmas. Any unwrapped toy you bring for the box will get you a raffle ticket. So, they're both Junk Food Custom Arcades products. They're the Snack Box Minis.
And they look fucking sweet.
One is Syracuse Sucker Punch themed, and the other one is Attack from All Sides themed. They both look very pretty. And we will show you all the special arcade stick that we had made that's staying with yours truly, so I can learn how to play Hitbox.
Can't wait.
It is going to be a legendary item that I might never use because Hitbox confused the shit out of me.
You never know. You might like it.
But the design is superb.
Yes. One might even say sublime.
Amazing. But and then the Killer Instinct online Christmas tournament will be officially the 18th. It's on Sunday night. The bracket is posted. Sign up. I don't know what I can say to you. Play Killer Instinct and you don't sign up. You better have a damn good excuse.
You're gonna get -2 paparazzi points if you don't sign up and you play KI. Looking at you, Ultratech, Sweat Set.
I'd like to say thank you again to Dave for coming on, man. Fun talking to you, dude. You got some crazy fucking stuff. Love them.
Yes.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, like
Thank
I said,
you for showing up.
We will
appreciate that.
We will have a part 3, and we'll figure out who will come on, and we'll. I know all 6 of you, even though Damas and Tony could not make it. I know they have stories as well, and I enjoy hearing the stories before my time of even being part of this community. Yes, I did play fighting games, but I played them alone because I didn't know back then there was a community. But I enjoy hearing this, especially Soul. You guys say Soul Calibur a lot. It makes me happy, man. Soul Calibur 2 was fucking awesome.
And that's the thing. A lot of these stories were the early Soul Calibur days, early Tekken 5 days. They haven't gotten to the stuff when Tony and Thomas came. like that. There's even more shit I can talk about. That'll make you question them as.
But we'll line it up. We'll figure it out. As everyone knows, there's a lot going on the next couple weeks. There is no round table next week. Because of the Game Awards, and then the Street Fighter tournament, and then the Christmas party, and then another Christmas party. So we won't be back here again until the Christmas party, because we're gonna bring the stream setup. I don't know what we're gonna run on it, but we'll do something. Figure
You
it out.
guys should just do a round table at the Christmas party.
That's a good fucking idea.
Like round table after hours.
I like
So we
that
can-
Yeah.
idea.
Yes.
And that could be like the introduction. We'll do it, right? And
I'll
you're
do
gonna
it.
have a lot of
We're
people
doing it.
there.
Kenyon, I know you're listening. We're doing it.
Oh, I'm sure Kenyon would have a lot to say about it.
And
got-
whoever
Oh,
just
good night.
remains after the party can come on the table. We'll talk as a
Sick.
whole community. Good time.
Awesome.
Great.
There's the new plan.
There it is.
See?
So it shall be done.
Get Dave on once, and he's sparking ideas. I love it.
If you guys, anytime you guys want me to talk, I will talk.
I will keep that noted.
Awesome.
Everyone's always welcome to come back on the round table. This is a community show after all.
All right, guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you again,
Thanks, Dave.
That's all I have to say. Rick, you good to go?
I'm good to go. Vinny, take us home.
All right. Good night and good luck.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see ya.
Bye.